emerging technology presents immense opportunity for Africa. Looking at the disruption that is happening right now as we speak, this is the time to actually empower the youth to learn about these new technologies, to take opportunities, position themselves well, create jobs, lift economies, and uplift the continent of Africa.
Why do you do what you do?
Basically, I'm very passionate about the youth, and I'm passionate about technology. So I have more than 12 years experience in the field of technology, and basically I've lived in technology all my life. I was mentored by my dad, who was an engineer. So I have always seen an opportunity in using technology to actually solve problems that the African society faces, African people faces, and also creating opportunities for the youth through the use of technology. So emerging technology presents immense opportunity for the continent of Africa. Looking at the disruption that is happening right now as we speak, the disruption that will continue to happen in the technology space in Africa, this is the time to actually empower the youth to learn about these new technologies, to take up opportunities, position themselves well, create jobs, lift economies, and basically uplift the continent of Africa.
Amazing. How did you start your business?
Well, I actually started it as a training consulting company. Yeah. What happened is I was employed for a period of about 8 years in a leading telecoms equipment vendor, global equipment vendor. So through this experience, having to work with different technical teams, building solutions, and taking these solutions to market to different partners, mobile operator partners, gave me an opportunity to be at the forefront of training of emerging technologies, blockchain, AI, and the disruption that is coming. I'm speaking about something that actually happened more than 7 years ago. Yeah. So when people in Africa were still trying to figure out what is this new technologies that people are talking about, what is this AI, what is this blockchain, what is all this crypto stuff that is happening, I was already going through intense training on the disruption that is coming to the world, not just to the continent, to the world as a result of emerging tech. So I actually got a realization back then. I've always been an entrepreneur, very inquisitive nature in mind. In my employment phase, I was an intrapreneur in that I would help the technology company break through with new solutions across different African countries. It became clear to me that if I am getting this type of training now, and I'm still not passing this type of knowledge to the partners, to different companies, to startups, to the youth, there will be a huge gap, an extremely huge gap, because I consider myself one of the pioneers in as far as tech innovation in the continent is concerned. Yeah, I decided to actually take that leap. It was a very difficult decision to make, and I remember my directors thought I was crazy when I told them I'm leaving, I'm gonna start my own company, They're like, do you even know what you're doing? Do you know how difficult it is? I mean, do you have a plan? Like, and I honestly did not have a plan. I did not have a plan. I did not have mentors. But something in me sparked an interest, sparked a dream, and I decided to take the leap. Yeah. When I jumped out, basically, I decided to take the opportunity to spend some time with a mentor in China. who was also one of the greatest mentors I had while I was learning about technical solution sales. And she took me through opportunities that are there out of the continent in as far as blockchain is concerned, in as far as AI is concerned, in as far as basically data, big data is concerned, yeah. And I spent some time with her, seeing her, watching her build her startup from the ground up. Yeah. So she would take me to the office every single day. She would introduce me to her team. We'd go through different code bases, try and test different products. Yeah. So basically holding my hand. So I would say she was my first mentor. Yeah. When I left employment. And she told me, you know what, Alice, when you go back to Africa, just think of a problem, yeah, that you can be able to solve, and just build from that. Yeah. If you can be able to change someone's perspective and build their capacity one person at a time, and they have a very good experience with you, they definitely will give a good word for you. And that's how you build a company. Yeah. Change one life at a time. Before you know it, it's gonna scale to one business at a time. Before you know it, it's gonna scale to another corporate and another and from country to country. So that's how you start your own business. So I came back to Kenya. That was around early 2019. And basically, that's when I decided now to start the opportunity of training different institutions on blockchain, on AI, on the opportunities that are present, just to clarify. And this is also the same time COVID hit. Yeah. So I can tell you a huge chunk of what I do and why I do it actually came about as a result of the disruption that COVID brought. Lockdowns, yeah, people not being able to work, to basically the economy is coming to a standstill, and people not having sources of income. It became a huge opportunity for me because my phone just couldn't stop buzzing. Yeah, everyone was calling, Alice, we are stuck, businesses are shut, we don't know what to do, but we are hearing there's an opportunity in as far as crypto is concerned, in as far as blockchain is concerned. Can you please just break it down for us, let us understand it, teach us. Yeah. And this started from individuals, slowly to companies, banks calling me, media houses calling me. And basically that's how the word got out that, hey, here is a professional who can actually be able to train you how to adopt this new technology, who can help your organization transition in the right way, basically to understand exactly what is happening within the blockchain and the digital asset space. Yeah. And of course, at that particular time, I was also myself unlocking different opportunities for myself, basically to generate income as a startup, as a consulting startup at that particular time. Yeah. Identifying arbitrage opportunities, watching the markets each and every single day, trying to find ways to be able to actually move assets in a very fast way, doing a comparison of how blockchain wallets work with mobile money interoperability. Yeah, so I learned how to connect the two systems pretty fast back then. Yeah, it was very easy for me. And through this opportunity, basically, it became clear to me that, oh my goodness, do people even understand how it is possible to actually link these two financial systems together to be able to generate revenue and income for themselves? If they knew that, and we have so many unemployed youth in Africa, I think this is an avenue to create so many opportunities for the young people, so many opportunities for companies. Yeah. This is the problem I actually started solving. And in the year 2020, 2021, Crypsense was actually born. Yeah. Through the whole experience, through the whole gap, the whole opportunity, that is how Crypsense came about, to build capacity to the youth, to build capacity to organizations, at the same time also solve challenges that organizations have in as far as payment collections, disbursements, interoperability between fintechs, mobile money, banking infrastructure, and digital asset ecosystem.
Before we get into your service offerings, could you kindly explain what blockchain is and maybe give a use case?
Yeah, distributed ledger technologies, simple terms I like to use, that I learned quite recently from one of my mentors, is The software solution to the trust problem we have as individuals. Yeah,
The
very
trust
simple.
problem.
Yeah, it's basically people don't trust each other. Yeah, employees don't trust their bosses, and vice versa. People don't trust banks. Don't trust people. People don't trust lawyers. Like there's always a trust problem each and every single. You're not even sure whether you can trust your neighbor, right? Yeah. So basically, it creates a system where uh, records can be kept in a very transparent manner. Yeah. So I really don't have to trust you because the software does the trusting for us. Yeah. So if we both agree that whatever it is that we are actually going to transact or basically record, we do it on a distributed ledger technology system, which is blockchain. It's imprinted on the chain, right? And it's transparent. Yeah, and it's a highly secured technology basically, so no one can alter with whatever it is that's imprinted. Yeah, and it's replicated across multiple nodes or computers across the world, so this cannot be changed. It verifies that I basically don't need to trust you, but as long as we are both transacting on this technology, the network does the trust building for us.
And how do businesses leverage this technology?
So it depends on the type of business that you're in. Yeah, we have a multitude of use cases when it comes to blockchain technology. When it comes to payments, right? We have an ecosystem where transactions are monitored in real time, recorded in real time, are immutable, cannot be changed, and basically are easy to track. Yeah. It, of course, being on the blockchain also means that the record is actually highly secured. Yeah. The assets that are being moved are also highly secured. So that is in the financial space. We have problems of financial inclusion where people have lack of access to the banking infrastructure because of the barriers of entry. They're having a digital wallet comes into play where the onboarding process is actually cut completely, yeah, especially in decentralized finance. So here there's no onboarding process. You just need a smartphone and an email address and you're good to go. Yeah. When it comes to logistics and supply chain transparency, lots of revenues are lost in the middle between the manufacturing child. Even let's just start at collection. If you're looking at the agri space, yeah, once food is being basically harvested to it being shipped to whichever manufacturing company, if it's going to be manufactured to a good that's basically going to be released to the market. So challenges involved in logistics, in costs. Yeah, it becomes very difficult to track, to be able to monitor who is taking what. Yeah, and who is basically being fraudulent in the ecosystem. Yeah, it becomes easier if you integrate blockchain and internet of things devices basically to track the whole logistics process and the whole manufacturing process. Yeah, again, internet of things, when we talk about IoT, yeah, so these are smart devices communicating in real time. Yeah, lots of data being released in microseconds at the same time. Yeah, so how do you keep track of that basically? Yeah, so all this data being recorded on the blockchain means that it's there, it's immutable, it's easy to be able to track some of these communications that are happening between IoT devices, and interaction between man machine basically interactions. Yeah, so very much easily. Immense creative industry. Oh, and I'm so passionate about the creative industry, by the way, and the creative industry that we have in Africa. So much culture, so much heritage. Yeah, non-fungible tokens come into play there. Yeah, loyalty. Yeah, how can artists be able to track the albums, sales of their artifacts, yeah, be able to hold them in form of NFTs, yeah, digital imprint and certificates, yeah, where you can be able to see who is accessing what when it comes to the artwork that you have produced. Yeah, and fundraising opportunities through that also for the artists. Yeah, so immense opportunities. Like, I don't think there's an industry that you can mention and I'll tell you blockchain doesn't touch on it. Yeah, so maybe you can try me through an industry, and I'll be like, okay, let me think.
Podcasting,
Yeah, podcasting, creative.
of course.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know that you have a B2C component and a B2B component. Could you walk us through both and maybe an ideal customer for both?
Yeah, so B2C component is basically the education component. Yeah, so when we're talking about empowering the youth, so we built a digital academy that is gamified. Yeah, so we had to look for very innovative and interactive ways to actually engage the youth, and we know right now how big the youth is in gaming, right? So we look at ages 25 and below, up until, I think I have trained 16-year-olds who's gone through my academy, and actually right now is doing an undergrad in blockchain technology in University of Miami. Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, so from going through an internship at Crypsense, interacting with the academy, sending through an application to the university from Kenya, he was actually accepted, and doing a referral letter for him. So the reason as to why we became so innovative with the B2C model is we are creating opportunities for the youth. And how best to do that than to actually look for engagement channels that the youth actually love engaging in right now as we speak. Yeah, and also we have immense opportunities when you look at gaming, when you look at the metaverse. Yeah, and also it's a way for our academy basically to transition to a learn of us. So the bigger picture is having the academy turn into a fully immersive experience for the youth, where they can be able to basically get into this immersive world, into these virtual classrooms, and interact together, and basically learn and get incentivized in the metaverse as they're learning about blockchain, Web3, digital assets, and creating opportunities for themselves through our ecosystem. Yeah. So the vision is to help the youth achieve self-sustaining economies through the digital asset ecosystem, by themselves, one, and two, for by creating opportunities for the youth through our ecosystem partners. Yeah, that's it on the B2C model. Yeah, the B2B model now works on payments and settlements, and safe custody of assets, and solving the bottlenecks that majority of startups, tech companies, fintech companies, e-commerce companies are experiencing in as far as payment solutions in Africa is concerned. And this is not just in Africa, it's also out of Africa. Yeah, so there's inter-Africa trade and there's intra-Africa trade. Yeah, there's import and export also. Majority of companies that we service actually are global companies based, say, in US and in Europe, and are digital e-commerce companies that have footprint across multiple African countries. Yeah, so Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, selling products on digital platforms, however facing a lot of challenges in as far as getting the payments into their base currency, which is either dollars or euros, and out of the continent. Yeah, huge challenge for them. So we solve that through blockchain-based payment solutions.
And scaling to all these African countries, what challenges have you come across,
Yeah,
and
that's
how are you mitigating and solving those challenges for yourself?
yeah, that's a very interesting story. So when scaling into other African countries, first is understanding the local requirements of setting up a business. Yeah, so it's not easy. Just from the basics of where is the office of immigration, where do I, basics. Yeah, where do I go and register? Secondly, costs. Yeah, because you'll come to realize that still we have countries that still expect you to have a physical office within that particular town for you to be able to be registered or pass the registration process. Yeah, so we still have authorities still not understanding this whole concept of a digital business. How are you a digital business with digital footprint across multiple African countries, and yet there's no physical office. Yeah, so that becomes another challenge. When you're looking at physical offices, you're also looking at now more funds that are needed. Yeah, because you have costs, operational costs that you have to meet. Yeah, so you have rent. You also have to now expand your local team. Yeah, so we do have countries that will not allow you to register until you have one or two local team members, yeah, already absorbed. Yeah, so it becomes a challenge also going down to the ground and scouting for some of this talent. And we know that blockchain and Web3 is still a very early stage technology, so it's not easy to get that particular talent. So we are actually we find ourselves in a place where we are training for that skill so that we can employ. And that's how we built Crypsense from the ground up. Yeah, and hence the concept of the academy, because we noted if we can be able to build an academy and have students learn, then we also create a resource pool for ourselves. Yeah, so we can solve our own challenge through building capacity and now employing them. So that's why we are scaling to multiple African countries digitally as an academy, so that we can have even the youth within those countries access the academy and start learning. And by the time our partner requires us to expand into that country, we know who has already interacted with our ecosystem, and we know who we can actually be able to give a job opportunity within that jurisdiction. Yeah.
You also gave me a business opportunity to go and help these companies establish a local footprint.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. Yeah, that's really nice to know. Yeah.
And if you could describe your big, hairy, audacious goal of what you want to achieve 20, 30 years from now, what would that be?
I want to get to a space where I can ascertain and say that I took my part and I did my part in as far as solving the unemployment challenge that we have in Africa, right? That challenge of we have countries that are experiencing up to 30% unemployment rate, you know, and yet we have graduates leaving universities every single year with this high unemployment rate. What is going to come out of the youth? Yeah, that's the question that I keep on asking myself. And I hope to be, and I'm actually, that's what I'm working towards, to be part of the teams that actually makes a difference and manages to create opportunities for this youth. That's the first and foremost thing. Secondly is we've had conversations, and we always keep on having these conversations. Right now, when COVID came, a lot of disruption actually did happen as to how people learn, yeah, as to how people do business, and as to how basically the foundation of a successful business needs to be. Yeah, a lot of disruption came with that. So I basically hope that out of building the digital ecosystem that we are actually building right now, and the academy as we are gamifying it, we can actually be part of a revolution that has never been touched on in Africa before, and that is the revolution of gamification of education. Yeah, and we've seen a lot of traction from ed tech companies reaching out to us, asking us, "Hey, can you help us come up with more innovative ways of gamifying our edtech platforms to increase interaction, to be able to track student engagement, basically ways to incentivize students as they're learning, ways to turn their certificates into NFTs, verifiable NFTs, you understand? So I hope to actually be part of that massive revolution of a new form of education that is going to uplift Africa and create even more opportunities, and basically reduce inequalities in as far as the economy of the continent and the opportunities for people is actually concerned.
Amazing. Alice, thank you. I want to also acknowledge you for helping this continent to stay with the times, especially with the rise of AI, that you're one of the people on this continent that is driving this so impactfully. So thank you for doing that, and also your big, hairy goal. I hope that comes true, and I hope that we can also help in any way that we can. So thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. It's
Cool.
been exciting. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Alice.